Well, hello everyone. You're here to show you the eyes of a child. Say coloring right here is that most of us would probably wonder about what is that? What do you mean by eyes of a child? Is this right here is a say a I guess you can call it a memoir. It's like knowing about that I apparently had back a couple of years ago back I think back in 98, 99 it was that I had sent mailed in some artwork. It was related to, like, say, a video contest. I think it was something related to that I remember that somebody one of the family members had told me that there was an ad in the paper about that is like talking about with with artwork. It was one of them was about sending us a drawing, and then more likely if that it may be published, and then of course that talking about that more likely possible published in a book it was. And I remember that the book title, of course, was called Eyes of a Child. It was, and of course there was some other colorings in there as well. Of course, is based on say the fact about Eyes of a Child. It was is that other drawings and colorings it was. But I remember that one of my photos that I went ahead and one of the pieces of artwork that I went ahead and did, of course, was published into the say was going to be published, or I think one time it was published, but then my parents were going to order the book for me. I think it was about $45 at one time. But anyway, that I can remember that the artwork that I did, of course, was done using a pencil. It's like you got right here is a cat, and then of course if there was like what you call is like go ahead and add like what you call a ball of yarn. It is go ahead and add like what you call is like a ball of yarn, and with the bar of yarn it would represent that with the cats. I guess a lot of times the cats would like to chase something. It's like you got right here is a ball of yarn. It is, but a lot of the activity that I went ahead and put into the coloring back those couple of years ago, I think back in 98, 99, so I think it was back in early 97 it was that there was a contest to say going on, and I can remember that I did the artwork by pencil, that I would do the artwork by pencil. And a lot of times people probably think about like a few times if you make a mistake but that you would erase it, but the way I kind of did it, of course, I learned in art class was knowing about that the way that you can blend the color in. If you were to say working with working with just the pencil right here, number 2 pencils, is do different kinds of artistic ideas. You say with your eye, it's knowing about, it's like what you can picture in your mind. For it's like if you were to actually draw something, and of course I drew this of course from a blank page. It is, but a lot of people probably think about that, really, how do you do that? And more likely, it's like talking about, it's like, the thumb, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5. It's like, maybe the 5 easy steps, and knowing about what you would need to do is, so far as, getting used to something, is knowing about, is like, how do you do that? How do you do jumping jacks or whatever you call it? And I could probably think about that. Anybody would probably think about it looks so easy whenever you see somebody else trying it or something like that. But other than that, you have right here is the ball of yarn, and then of course that's like what you call is like a black and white type sketch. You say it's like a sketch right here, black and white type sketch right here, and then get is the ball of yarn, and then of course that a lot of times that the cats would like to chase a mouse at times also. But other than that is knowing about that the type of artwork I did back then, of course, was like black and white. It is, but of course with the number 2 pencil it is. But go ahead and add just a little bit more shade, to say a pencil right there, and then go ahead and blend it in. This was a trick that I remember I thought I made up, but then of course my art teacher even told me it's like that's usually how you do the artwork, is by using the eraser, and then go ahead and tab lightly erase a little bit of it, and then go ahead and draw a little bit more detail. And I guess that usually means that you're blending they say that the graphic detail, together it is. You have right here is the ball of yarn. It's like knowing about, people probably think about it. It's like you got right there is the object, and then of course, it's like, yeah, like in most art classes that they say that you got between just like pastel and of course forms say art it is, but the ball of yarn about right here. It's like you got the string right here. And of course, it's like go ahead and maybe erase a little bit of detail right there. It's like just to show it's like they with the ball of yarn. If it were like on the bed sheets, it was. But you got right there is the ball of yarn, and then a lot of times that the cats would maybe like to chase a mouse. Go ahead and maybe it's like draw like what you call it's like a mouse. It's like you got right there is a mouse. It's like in the like a three blind mice, three blind mice. But anyway, that you got right there is with the nose, and then of course it's like with the whiskers, and you got there is the mouse. A lot of times the cats would like to chase that, to be chasing the mouse quite a bit of times. But anyway, but I remember that the name of course, it's like I remember my mom had mentioned it, of course, and then of course with my dad too, that knowing about with my parents is like that there was that was the name, of course, of the book. It was is knowing about is like Eyes of a Child. It was, and a lot of people probably think about really about what does that really mean? Of course, it's like knowing about it's like Eyes of a Child, and whenever I first had seen it advertised, I was just thinking about that if it was just about me or some other say kids colorings, and it looked like to me it was like other kids colorings it was. But on your hand too, that knowing about with me that I can still remember the book title, and then knowing about the people were like, well, that of course never did order the book. It was never did order the book, but on your hand too, that knowing about say with the whole meaning of say it's Eyes of a Child. It is. It's like you gotta take a phone call too, but I say Eyes of a Child. It is that you would think about that. Hey, with the eyes of a child, it is. It's just knowing about the hey, that with the eyes of a child is that knowing about the type of work of art it is.